Okay, so here's a question about bearings. Well, you need to know what a bearing is, and a bearing is a direction measured clockwise from north. So in yellow there is the bearing of B from A, so measured at A, the bearing of B from A is 55 degrees. So if you're standing at A, you need to go clockwise 55 degrees from north to be facing B. So if you're at A and you want to go to B, the direction you need to go is 55 clockwise from north. And in red there is the bearing of A from B. So if you're at B and you want to go from A, then the red angle is the direction you need to go from B to get to A, measured clockwise from north. And if I just move that angle along and put it against the reverse bearing, you can see that the difference between the bearing from one town to the other and the reverse bearing is 180 degrees, and it's always 180 degrees because of the properties of angles and parallel lines. So we've got a rule that says if you know the bearing of one place to another, then to find the reverse bearing you have to add or subtract 180 degrees. So the yellow angle here plus 180 degrees will give you the red angle, and the red angle minus 180 degrees will give you the yellow angle. So the rule for finding a reverse bearing is you either add or subtract 180 degrees. And it's telling you here there's a formula for working out the bearing of A from B, and it's telling you that you take the bearing of B from A and add 180 degrees. So use the diagram and the formula to work out the bearing of A from B. So that's the red angle, and it's telling you that it's the yellow angle plus 180 degrees. So 55 plus 180 means that the red angle is 235 degrees. So if you're at B and you want to turn in the correct direction to head for A, then you need to be facing 235 degrees measured clockwise from north. Now the next question says, give a reason why the formula can only be used for the angle between 180 and 0. So 55 degrees, the formula is add 180. Why is that only valid up to 180? And here's my reason, because if the angle you were adding 180 to was more than 180, then you'd get an angle that would be more than 360. So I've written because T, the angle, the reverse bearing, would then be in the range, or would then be over 360, and it would be outside the range from 0 to 360. And an angle must be from 0 to 360, otherwise, well, you start coming back on yourself, because 360 is the whole way round. So I've written, and T must be in the range from 0 to 360. And in fact, if you've got an angle over 180 and you want to find the reverse bearing, you don't add 180, but as I mentioned earlier, you take off 180. And the third part of the question involves doing that. It says the bearing of, well, two other points. The bearing of C from D is 342. Work out the reverse bearing, the bearing of D from C. So instead of adding 180, because 342 is already bigger than 180, the rule is to take off 180. So 342 minus 180 means that the reverse bearing is 162. So just to go back and summarize, going all the way back, an angle and or a bearing from one place to another, and the reverse bearing to go from the other place to the first place, the difference is always 180 between them. So the rule is, depending on whether the angle you're starting with is more or less than 180, you need to add or subtract 180 to get the reverse bearing.